Good morning, YouTube. Well, they got him. Pastor Pervert Kenneth Adkins has been sentenced to, first I thought it was 35 years, but the sentence is actually life in prison with the possibility of getting out in 35 years. He has to do 35 years because if he just had a 35-year sentence, since it wasn't a violent crime, he would get out usually with halftime. So he would only get out in about 17 years. But that's not the sentence. The sentence is life in prison. Now, how guilty would you have to be to get life in prison for a nonviolent crime? That's guilty. That's guilty. There's no question about that. All right, so I want to read a little bit of the article, a paragraph or so. Please look at. Please look it up. Okay. The headline is, this is from the Jacksonville.com, so I guess it's from Florida. Judge sentences Kenneth Adkins to life in prison for child molestation, but can spend portion on probation after 35 years. He's got to do 35 years. He's 57 years old. That's life. 35 years. Okay. Kenneth Adkins listens passively as Glenn County Superior Court Tuesday as Chief Justice Stephen G. Clare. That's not what I want. Okay. Yeah, sentence him to life in prison. But after 35 years, the rest would be served on probation with him in his defense attorney Kevin Gorge. Anyway. All right, so I still want to read something. I'm going through this whole article. But it's happened. They're absolutely certain that you're guilty when you get life in prison without possibility of parole, which is essentially what he got. He got a life sentence, but he's got to do 35 years. If you're 57, how y'all do the math? He'd be well into his 80s before he got out. All right, so I'm not gloating over anybody else's misery. I really don't think I am. I think he got what he deserved. That was his message, and now he has to chew on his own words. Close it down. Yeah, so, I want you guys to start paying attention to the kind of people who get sentenced on who get caught in these kind of cases. Seriously. I mean, I know, I'm not saying all straight people are perverts and nothing like that, but pay attention to the kind of people who get busted for this kind of stuff. They're always, from my observation, they're almost always married men. Almost always somebody living in the closet. Many times in ministry, sometimes with around something that would put them in proximity with kids. That seems to be a pattern. When I was molested back in, I was 12, something like that. It was an old white guy, a construction worker, married person out of Illinois, coming to Indiana to do his dirt. Very rarely, in my experience, if I run into gay people, people with lovers, people who live their life free, very rarely do they get caught up in this kind of mess. Now, I'm not saying that, that a person who is homosexual can also be a pedophile. I'm not saying that. I'm sure it happens some places, but not in my experience. And I've done a lot of time behind bars myself for drug charges. I'm not proud of my ex-life, but it was never involved in hurting other people. Y'all going to say, oh, he just sold drugs, whatever. It wasn't no stuff like this. That's neither here nor there. I came out of it. I no longer do that. But it seems to be these people who try to perpetrate this, they try to live on the other side. They try to get married. They try to hide. They try to be pastors and speak against homosexuality. And they do all of this stuff against their nature, and then they sneak and do the other part. So their ministry is basically do it, just don't get caught. That's what this fool thought. No one will ever know. So in that way, I guess they're sociopathic. They don't give a damn about what damage they cause. So I don't have no sympathy for this dude. I got on here. I'm offended by his wife. Now, it's not the woman's fault that her husband is a pervert. Apparently, she's a pastor too. But she got on there defending him like she would know about. He would tell her about he's out there molesting people. He got life in prison, so they're pretty sure that it was him. He did what the accuser said he did. She gonna get on there today talking about how she stands by her husband and how she's falsely accused. I guess it's the standard stuff. But then to say that you're gonna take over as the pastor, there's a disconnect there. If he got found guilty and was sentenced to what is basically a life sentence, what actually is a life sentence, she'll see him again in 35 if he's still alive. If she could have just humbly accepted the sentence, said she would step forward to carry the church forward, to hold the church, that would be acceptable for me. I would have sympathy for the woman because it was not her fault or what he did. But for her to get on there defending him and then talking about you going to be the pastor, who want to go to a church like that? If you're perpetrating the same crime, I mean, you're not innocent when you are defending this man, and then you say you want to pastor the church. Obviously, you don't mind lying. Ma'am, what's your name? Charlotte Stormy. I'm not blaming you for what he did, but stop defending that man. Break it off. More than likely, you guys have already lost your church. You're going to lose your church. Unless you have some strong other leaders in there somewhere. But probably, if this is your attitude about what he did, you're not the one. So, you care about your church, let it go. You want to get on the sidelines and defend your husband, because they're going to be, a lot of people are going to consider you an accomplice. If you want to fight on that level, do it. He's innocent as far as you're concerned. But don't go there in front of the people and try to be their pastor when you're defending the person who's accused of this kind of crime. It's not going to work. All right. Anything else? If I say anything else, it'd just be gloating. But see how fast that happened? See how fast that happened? Pulse, accusation, conviction is over. Watch what comes out of your mouth, people. Bring it on yourself. Well, he was already a child molester. Obviously, this has been going on for a long time. But pay attention to who is a child molester. Who are they? All of my experience in prison, I never once saw a person that I would consider a gay person marching with the child molesters. They were separated. I mean gay with the mannerisms and the open cruising and all, like us. I never saw it. Now, I'm not saying that it can't happen, but we usually don't commit those kind of crimes. We're already out and living our truth. When these people are trying to bury and hide the truth about themselves, is when you get into this kind of shit, this sneaky stuff. And the only when you have access to kids who are vulnerable, who don't know any better, it produces this, in my opinion. All right, people.